Right, let's go. Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So this will be episode 4 of season 2. We're continuing on chords, and as I said last time, which is quite a while ago now, we're going to be concentrating on some of the other extension chords. We've done major minor, major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, and then last time we did like power chords and the sus chords and a 9 chord. So today we're going to start by talking about slash chords and explain what a slash chord is and how they work. And then we're just going to talk about some of the other, we'll try and go through all the most common extensions, but rather than going this is this, trying to explain how they all work. So first bit will be slash chords, and then it'll be hopefully explaining how chords basically work. So why a major 9 is called a major 9 and why a 9 is called a 9. Things like that. So that hopefully you can better identify chords, and also hopefully it'll help like get the scales and stuff sorted in your head. It'll make a bit more sense with the chords. Hopefully. We'll see though. But anyway, so that's the game plan. Let's see how that goes. So the next thing will be my guitar, and I'll be talking through slash chords basically. So let's crack on. Okay guys, so as I just said, I'm going to try and explain chords a bit more. We've gone through a few of the different chords. Yeah, so now I'm going to do a slash chords and then a more general look at chords. So slash chords first. What is a slash chord? Well, that's my wife and my son making lots of noise. Anyway, so what is a slash chord? Basically, a slash chord is when the root note is not the lowest note in the chord. That is literally when you use a slash chord. So, for example, if I play a D and I play it with the D string as the lowest note in terms of pitch, it's a D chord. If I then play the A string as the lowest note in the chord, it becomes a D/A. So the left hand side tells me the chord D. It's still a D because an A doesn't change the chord at all. But now the right hand side tells me that the lowest note is no longer the root note, it's an A. So it becomes a D/A. That is literally all slash chords are. So the really common ones are D/F sharp. So all you do there is you've got your D chord, and then your lowest note in terms of pitch is now an F sharp note. It doesn't change the quality of the chord, it's still a D major, but the lowest note is now an F sharp, so D/F sharp, okay? It's very, very simple. Some people get really confused with it, but that's all it is. So any chord could be slashed by just making the lowest note not the root note. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, any example you have of that, that's basically what it is. It doesn't happen that often when you're just playing normal chords or these kinds of things. But when you're playing more specific chords, you might do something like this, an F minor 11, but that's my lowest note because I'm not playing that F sharp note. It becomes a /C sharp. F minor 11/C sharp. So it sounds really complicated, but it's not really. It's not a complicated chord to play. It's just that the lowest note is not an F sharp note. It's a C sharp note. So very quick explanation of slash chords. Hopefully that makes sense. Obviously feel free in the comments to ask me about any specific chords. You know, I often see on Ultimate Guitar or those kind of sites, people just misnaming chords. It's very easily done, and slash chords are a common one to misname. Yeah, that's all a slash chord is. So the left hand side tells you the chord. So in this case, it's an F sharp minor 11. That's what the chord is. And then the right hand side tells you that it's not an F sharp bass, it's a C sharp bass. So F minor 11/C sharp. And the same with a D/F sharp or an E/G sharp. It's all the same, conceptually all the same thing basically. Left hand side is the chord, right hand side is the root note. So you can do that with any triad. So you can take like a C triad, put it with an A root note, C/A. If you look at that in terms of an A, that's actually an A minor 7. But from the C's point of view, it's a C/A. C major triad. Those are the 3 notes that make up a C chord. A root note. C/A. C/B flat or A sharp, depending on what scale you're in. Yeah, you can just keep moving it. C/B. That one obviously doesn't work. you will quite often see it just written in those terms, so a C/A. Obviously an A does change the quality of the chord, so that it changes, what I mean is it changes the kind of chord it sounds like, so it's no longer just a C because it has that extra A note. So that's just always something to be aware of. An A is the 6th note in the scale, so it has a feel of a C6. Yeah? Yeah, so that's just something to be aware of, and particularly when you seeing chords written down, you will, if it's written down in a tab book or a guitar magazine or something like that, that will probably be written as a C6/A, because that's what it sounds like, because it's that A note. But if you see it online, it's most often will be like a C/A. That's what it's called. So you just have to be aware that sometimes what's written, you know, you have to kind of work it out a little bit as well. Yeah, so sometimes you get that different quality of chord. So that would be like a C7/B, because the C7 is the tonality of the chord. So you do have to be aware of that as well. That's obviously kind of a next level thing. The first thing is just to understand what they are. So what you sometimes find is, say you've got a C7/B, you might be trying to play a C7 like this, and think, well, how the heck am I going to play a B root note? Obviously if you have a bass player, you just say, you know, play a B note and help me out. But that'll obviously work as well. So C major 7, I should say. Sorry, I said C7, didn't I? C major 7 /B. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Basically, slash chord is when the lowest note is not the root note. The left-hand side tells us what the chord is. C, D, C sharp, F minor, whatever it happens to be, or 6, 13, whatever. And then the right hand side tells us the root note. So the right hand side is only ever one thing. It's always just a root note, you know, a note. It's never, it can't be like a C6/F minor. No, that's not how it works. The right hand side is always just the root note, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Slash chords, oh, I've got an email now, it's all going on. Okay, so next thing we'll talk about is kind of the makeup of chords, and hopefully get you guys understanding what all the different chords mean. So there's almost there's pretty much an infinite amount of chords. There's obviously not, there is a finite amount because there's a finite amount of notes, but it's so many it feels infinite. So we just have to kind of work out the rules. So the first kind of important thing, and the thing that I've really been concentrating on these, is just getting the kind of the name of the chords and the numbers right, so that you know the difference between a major and a minor. We've also talked about what a minor 7 is. It has a flat 7, and a dominant 7 or just a 7 chord has a flat 7, and a major 7 has a major 7 note. So those kind of things work out as you go, and we also talk about sus chords as well. So those are the really important rules I'm going to kind of emphasize here. Sometimes the name of a chord can be defined by the sequence that it's in, and that's a much more complicated thing. If it's not really obvious, it can be very complicated, and that's something I can't really do in a video, because that's going to be specific to that specific chord sequence, what it's actually called. So I'm going to talk more in general about how we name chords, and when we see a name of a chord, we'll be able to work it out, so that if it is written, you should still be able to work it out, even if it's not what you think it might be because of the chord sequence. That makes sense in my head, but I'm not sure it made sense when I said it out loud. But anyway, we'll continue, because let's just power on. So I'm just going to try and whip through them. So, but taking a major chord, okay, we know that we've got root 3, 5. So that's a root note, a major third, a perfect fifth. Okay, if we take that and then we add a 6th note on top, which is a major 6th note, it becomes a G6. Okay, now that kind of works for a flat 6, but that's a very uncommon addition, but it would still work. And then you've got you can add in that major 7, flat 7 for the dominant 7, major 7 chord, okay? Now, everything past that point is now going to be a number above 8, basically. So we've got a 9. Oh, sorry. Now, for a 9 chord, you have to add on the flat 7. Okay, it's the same if you want to do an 11 chord. You have to add in the flat 7 and and the 9 and the 11. Okay, so for example, a G11 would have a G, which is the root, a B, which is the major third, the perfect fifth D, then you'd have a flat 7, which is our F note, and then it would have the 9, which is an A note, and then it would also have a C note, which is an 11. Okay, it's a relatively common kind of chord, that one, kind of, maybe. Yeah, so you see that one every now and again. Yeah, really, really cool kind of sound to it, that one. It's my shape I like for my 11. And then the same works for 13. So with a 13, you have to add in all of those notes we just did and the 13, okay, which in this case would be an E note. So G, B, D, F, A, C, E, 13. Much harder to play on guitar because obviously we can't play all those notes at the same time, really. So easier on a piano. And that's basically how they work. Now, if you have an add something, what that means is that you're missing one of those important notes. So an add 11 would mean that you'd have your normal major notes, but you might not have the flat 7. Okay, so if you don't have the flat 7, you've just got that C note on top, it becomes an add 11. Okay, that's basically how the adds work. So an add 9, C add 9, the old chestnut, is a C triad, so with the 3 notes that make up a C chord, which are, and I'm sure you just said them out loud, so C, E, G, and then we just add on a D note, C add 9, okay? If we had the B flat, the flat 7, it would be a C9, but because we don't have that B flat, it's a C add 9. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All of these work for minors as well. I'm just doing them in major because it makes more sense. Yeah, so those are all the kind of really common things that you'll see. You've also got diminished chords. Basically, you've got, which is where you've got your root notes, you've got your flat third, and then you've got a flat fifth. Taking from that scale, that one, which is the half whole scale, isn't it? You end up with a diminished 7. Now, a diminished 7 is a flat, flat 7. Okay, that's what that means. So, the notes in that chord would be the root note, a flat 3, a flat 5, and then a flat, flat 7, which is called a diminished 7. That's the snazzy name for it. But I would always think of it as a flat, flat 7, but that's the snazzy name, is a diminished 7. And so that's another chord you see reasonably often, these diminished chords, diminished 7 chords. You get in some blues songs, that kind of a sound. I can't play. Here we go, let's try again. That took a lot of brain power. I can't believe I just couldn't play an E7 now. My hand was desperate to play an 11 chord. It's a B flat diminished. Anyway, that's The Stumble by Freddie King. A little bit of that. Anyway, so that was a bit of rubbish guitar playing, but you get the idea. So it's a diminished 7, has a diminished 7 in it. So it's a diminished chord with a diminished 7 on. So interesting one. Also, those are completely movable. Every 3 frets, every minor third, it's the same diminished 7 chord, but different root note, but the same chord, which I love. Same 4 notes every time. So yeah, you can also get things like all chords, much less common, and you don't often get extensions on all chords. But again, an augmented 7 would be like a, yeah, above a major 7 would be an augmented 7. But because that becomes the octave, it's not a very common thing to see. I think that's the main things I wanted to go through, basically. A very quick rundown of the rules of building chords once we add in all the extensions, all of the basic rules. There's loads more stuff, but hopefully with this you can get somewhere. Yeah, and obviously if you have any other questions about this, just put them down the bottom and I'll do like an end of season wrap up video for any questions that you have. If there's no questions, I'll just do a very quick wrap up video. But if there are, let me know about any kind of chord questions. But that's basically it. So it's slash chords. Hopefully that makes sense. Left hand side is the chord, right hand side is the root note when it is not sorry, is the lowest note when it's not the root note. I don't know why I'm finding that so hard to say. And then the other thing we have is all the different rules about when we just call something a 9 or an add 9 and then a diminish 7. So hopefully that all makes sense. Yeah, and obviously let me know if there's any other questions. So next thing you'll see will be me wrapping it up. Cheers. Awesome. Cool. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. So there's episode 4 done. So we've gone through the main bulk of the chords. We've built the chords. We've kind of gone through all the different extensions after building the major and minor chords. Yeah, so hopefully it's all starting to make some kind of sense for you guys about why we call chords what chords and how chords fit together and how they work together. So what we'll do next is we'll take some time looking at the Beatles and basically seeing some of the tricks that they do in terms of actually using those chords together. So we've been quite theoretical, obviously a little bit of playing, but mostly theoretical of building the chords and talking about how they work. Sorry, I'm a bit hay fevery, but we'll concentrate next time. We'll have a quick study on some Beatles songs, just some of the tricks that they used throughout their songs, starting from very simple bluesy style songs like Roll Over Beethoven and stuff like that, forward to their later stuff, which is much more complicated. And I'll try and make it not too long, so I'll just pick out a few songs and a few different tricks. So that'll be the plan next time. So that'll be episode 5, won't it? So now next 2 lessons will be more about practically using chords. So we'll start by looking at the Beatles next, and then the lesson after that will probably be Oasis, I think. Yeah, I think I'll just do one whole one on Oasis because I do so many Oasis videos. Anyway, so I'm waffling again because I'm thinking as I'm talking, which is terrible. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry I'm so hay fevery. If you like the video, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please comment on the video. Damn, did it the wrong way around. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Check out my Patreon. I'm going to be getting more and more stuff up there as time goes on. Yeah, and just thanks for watching, and there'll be more chord stuff in a couple of weeks. I'm trying to get up 3 videos a week, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again soon. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.